If there's any advice that I have for students, especially those in the College of Arts and Sciences or a liberal area of studies, don't worry. That would probably be the number one thing I would tell them, because I know my parents were a little freaked out when I told them I was going to be a history major and what I was going to do with that, because that linear mode of thinking, go study something, you have to find something that utilizes that degree. But again, the world that we live in today requires a lot of skill sets beyond that linear model. It very much embraces a chaos theory out there in the world. And the experiences that you gain at Miami, the tools and training that you'll gain on those intangible skill sets that companies really do seek beyond what you studied or what you're doing from a technical aspect of your job. There's a lot of opportunity out there, and you just got to go out there and kick some rocks and figure out what works for you. I'll give you an example from my interview with my current company that I've been with for 5 years now. I had been out of work for a year due to the downturn in the economy. The recruiting industry was a tough industry to be in at that time. But I was talking to my now boss in the interview, and I had just noticed that he was a little bit relaxed in his posture, had at one point, I believe, even crossed his arms and sat back in his chair. And I just knew that his nonverbal communication, I picked up on it, that he was just disengaged. I knew that this guy was not biting on what I had to say, and if I wanted to land this job, I needed to think outside the box. I had to throw all my chips on the table and try something, that maybe didn't make sense, but, hey, it was my last ditch effort. And he asked me a question, and what have you been doing for the last year? While I was out of work. And there was a lot of things I was doing in terms of my job search, but I knew those were the cookie cutter answers he was hearing from everybody else and probably not putting much stake into. So I had told him about my experience at Miami as a college athlete. I played water polo here, and working a desk job 70 hours a week trying to keep my head above water during a down economy. I had put on some weight, and I had noticed he was a pretty physically fit guy for being an older gentleman, and I figured, hey, this guy might bite on this story. So I told him about my experiences with a workout program called P90X, and that I had done 2 rounds with it and been running and swimming each day, getting myself back in shape physically after putting on that weight, working a desk job, and had lost 64 pounds. And now he's leaning over the table, completely engaged. He is a fan of P90X, does it, asked me what my favorite DVD was. The rest of the interview took the course of talking about nothing relevant to our job. But he knew the work ethic and the drive and ambition it took to have the results that I had, and he could see it. He saw me sitting across the table from him looking physically fit and healthy, and said, wow, that's the kind of work ethic and drive and motivation I need on my team. And before I even got in my car and left the parking lot, I got a call from the managing director to come back in for a final interview.